With Elestral's newest set Moonrise just 2 days away, people aren't just wondering how the new cards will perform. They're also wondering how older cards from previous sets will perform moving forward. So today, by special request, we have Chronodile. Starting the deck is one copy of Chronodile, an 8/14 3-drop, whose ability says you can disenchant one water from this Chronodile in order to target and destroy a card. While having at least 6 enchanting water/solar spirits, this Chronodile cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. So Earthquake, Laurels, nothing is touching this as long as you have at least 6 or more spirits. However, one thing to note is that Shield of Achilles can still bounce this to hand due to the fact that Shield does not target. So you do have to be very careful in placing your Chronodile down and making sure that your opponent will not have Shield. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Cockaray, a 4/1 solar Elestral that says this Cockaray cannot be suppressed. When you activate First Light, you can special ascend this Cockaray into Decklist from your hand or deck. So one interesting thing to note about this is the fact that it doesn't say how Decklist will have to be enchanted. So as long as you have a Chronodile in your hand and a Cockaray on board, you can easily cast First Light to special ascend into Decklist, misenchant it, and then ascend over that into your Chronodile. So that is one quick and easy way that you can turbo out your Chronodile is through Cockaray. To pair with our Cockaray, we'll be running one copy of Decklist. Now, to be honest, we don't want to see this in our hand, so one copy does suffice. And one thing to note is that even though this is a water solar deck, we are running one fire spirit specifically for Decklist and the ability to heal with this in the mid to late game. Now, to consistently get out our Chronodile, we'll be playing a water package featuring 2 copies of Foamy. Foamy is a 2/3 water Elestral that says when this Foamy is destroyed by battle, you can special cast a 1-cost water Elestral from your deck in defense position. Foamy is extremely strong due to the lack of removal right now, so Foamy can simply act as a small beater that will punish your opponent for attacking over it, or stick it in defense position, go into Foamy multiple times, and blank an entire battle phase with Foamy itself, while still having an Elestral on the board. One of the strongest Elestrals in this deck by far. Next, to pair with our Foamy, we'll be running 2 copies of Galaxy. Galaxy is a 2/5 water Elestral that says when this Galaxy is enchanted, swap each water enchanted Elestral's attack and defense. One of the strongest Elestrals in the game right now due to the fact that it plays around literally every single counter rune with the exception of Gorgon's Gaze and Dense Fog, which is going to see a rise in popularity inside of Moonrise. Our next Elestral pairs great with both Foamy and Galaxy. We're running 2 copies of Moostation. Moostation is a 1/6 that says you can expend 1 water in order to swap this Moostation's attack and defense until the end phase. This effect can also be activated when an opponent normal casts an Elestral. Pair it with Foamy and go out into Moostation as a huge defensive wall, or pair it with Galaxy as a huge offensive threat that'll work as a 6 attack beater, or simply use its ability to swap its own stat line. Moostation does it all in this deck. Our next Elestral we're playing is 2 copies of my main man, Edward. A 4/1 that says when you cast this Eddie, you can change the position of an Elestral. When a player casts Rock in a hard place, you can special ascend this Eddie into Decklist from your hand or deck. Now, we don't care about the second portion of his ability due to the fact that we're not playing Decklist. However, his first portion makes it so he can be over almost any 1-drop in the game with the exception of Galaxy. Also, he is immune to almost every single counter rune in the game with the exception of Gorgon's Gaze, similar to how Galaxy is, so Eddie is extremely strong right now. The last water Elestral we'll be playing is 1 copy of Dratagua. This is fantastic for the mid to late game to heal up needed spirits since everything in this game costs your life. Dratagua is a great play. Then we're playing 2 copies of Armadon. Armadon is a 1/6 solar Elestral that says when this Armadon changes position, an opponent must expend 1. So you can either water enchant this to work with the Galaxy and act as a 6 attack beater, or you can solar enchant this and sit this as a wall that your opponent will get punished for changing its position to attack over. Either way, Armadon is a fantastic card in this deck. Next, we're running one copy of Elechick. In this deck, Elechick is extremely strong because you can either find your Poseidon to help you ascend into your Chronodile, or you can look for Zeus and make Elechick a 7-attack beater when it comes out. Either way, Elechick will almost always be a good find for this deck. And to finish off our elestrals, we'll be playing 3 copies of Aster-Rabbit. This is kind of the best card in the entire game, and everybody knows what's up with it. If you don't know what this card does, just pause it and read it, and you'll figure out why it's so fantastic. Before we continue the video, I do want to remind everybody that I will be giving away a Reverse Stellar Exaltus at 100 subs. All you have to do is like the video and subscribe to the channel, and you will be entered to win this beautiful card. Without further ado, let's get back to the video. To start off our runes, we'll be running one copy of Poseidon. The interesting thing about Poseidon in this deck is every single Elestral, with the exception of Aster-Rabbit, plus Poseidon nexusing one spirit onto it, can equal a properly enchanted Chronodile. However, Poseidon without doing that is honestly just kind of a bad card that we don't want to be playing a bunch of, so we're only running one of it. Next, we'll be running one copy of Zeus. Zeus is simply the best divine rune in the game and will allow all of your Elestrals to beat over whichever one that you target with Zeus, so it's a fantastic card that we might as well play since we're already in Thunder anyways. To ensure we can consistently find our Chronodile, we'll be playing 2 copies of First Light. Not only will this help us make sure that we find our Chronodile, it will always allow us to activate our Cockaray's ability to special ascend into our Drakeray if we desire to. One thing to keep in mind though is even though Cockaray cannot be suppressed, Gorgons can still prevent it from ascending for the turn, so it does still shut down Cockaray's ability even though it doesn't get suppressed. To ensure that we don't get punished for playing our big Chronodile, we'll be playing one copy of Hurricane, a 3-cost invoke rune that says destroy all face down runes. Not only can this be great for ensuring that your Chronodile gets in for a lot of damage safely, this can also be good for just punishing your opponent for simply setting 3 and passing like they always do right now. Hurricane is sure to shake up the meta moving forward. To start off our removal package, we have 2 copies of Cryoblast. Right now, Cryoblast is phenomenal removal that kills pretty much anything with a high attack stat, and also can be paired with Zeus for an oddly colored Earthquake. Speaking of Earthquake, we're running one copy of Earthquake, because unconditional removal is phenomenal and we have the spirit room for it, so we might as well play it. To finish off our invoke removal, we'll be playing one copy of Resting on Your Laurels. Resting is extremely cheap removal that allows you to come back from bad situations. And then we have 3 copies of Ambrosia, because Ambrosia is simply busted due to the fact that everything in this game costs your life to play. For our counter runes, we'll be playing 3 copies of Gorgon's Gaze to prevent anything an opposing Elestral might want to do. We're playing 3 copies of Poison Tipped Arrow for the -2 attack to help save our Elestrals and also for the removal factor of it. And we're playing 3 copies of Shield of Achilles to bounce threatening Elestrals back to hand. Now moving on to the Spirit deck, even though it doesn't really look like it, our Spirit math is a little bit wonky. Starting off with 1 copy of Flurmine for our Cryoblast. We have 1 copy of Lycoris for our Hurricane. We have 1 copy of Vipyro for our Drakeray. We have 2 copies of Terratlas for our Earthquake. 3 copies of Zaptor for our Rabbits, our Elechick, and our Zeus. And then we have 5 Solar Spirits for our Solar package, and we have 7 Water Spirits for our Water side of the deck. So that's Chronodile. What do you think of the deck? Would you run it? Also let me know if there's anything that you would like to see down in the comments below. If you enjoy content like this, be sure to like and subscribe as I do put out content like this daily. I hope you all have a good day, and peace.